Hi friends, how are you? I'm Jerry, coming to you from the trailer once again, and it looks like it's going to be a little while that we are living here, a little bit longer than I had anticipated. So if you have not tuned in before, my husband and I sold our home just a couple months ago and moved into our 18-foot travel trailer while we were having a home built down in Arizona. And we decided to get a puppy right before we moved out of our house. So we have a 5-month-old Shih Tzu, a little boy, Bixby, and he's been a lot of fun, a lot of work, definitely keeping me busy. We're working on some tricks right now. So far he can sit, do high five, and lay, and he just loves getting his treats for all those little tricks he can do. And we'll add some more things to our repertoire as time goes on. And anyway, I'm just really knowing that God's hand is over our plans. We have prayed for it to be that way. We prayed about, where are we supposed to retire? We knew we didn't want to stay in Washington State. And so we just didn't know until this summer. God made things a lot more clear to us that it was supposed to be Arizona. And so if we have to wait, 12 to 14 months for our house to be built, which that's looking like that's what the timeline is going to be, we were told by the construction manager. It's a long time, but we want things to be done well. We want God's hand over every aspect of it. And so we're just trusting that this is all going to happen in His timeline for us. And if it's supposed to be 12 to 14 months, then that honestly just gives us time to save more money, maybe time to get in a few extra trips before we have a mortgage again. So, it's all going to work out, and I can handle quite a bit. I know that some of my friends think I'm crazy for being willing to live in a trailer, but it's an end to a means to an end. I don't know which way that goes, but you know what I mean. It is allowing things to happen for us and allowing us to be able to get this done on a timeline that's going to allow my husband, when he does retire, to just be able to make a smooth transition down to Arizona. He won't have to worry about, oh my gosh, my retirement's coming up and we got to sell the house and we got to find a house and all these things. So it'll all be ready to go by the time he's ready to be done, which is still a little while. And so it's all good. And, life is interesting and brings us to some crazy places sometimes. And sometimes you just have to pull your pants up and say, you know what, I can handle it. It's all going to be okay. It's reminding me, oddly, of one of the times that I was in Uganda. So I've been blessed to go a couple times for mission trips, and the pastor and his wife that we stayed in their village and worked alongside of them, Pastor J.B. Toilet and his wife Grace, they built a home for themselves in this village of Pajuli in Padir County, Uganda. And it's a beautiful home. It's a little rambler, and it looks similar to, maybe some of our homes that we would see in Arizona or, maybe even other high desert areas. But they don't have indoor plumbing and they don't have an indoor kitchen. They may have by now, because it's been 4 years already since I was there last. But they didn't have, those things at the last time that I was there. And so it can be challenging to figure out how to store your food and your things. And so we were all gathered for breakfast one morning, and we usually had tea with breakfast while we were there. And they open up the tea box, and there are what do you call them? What are those big bugs? Cockroaches, all in the tea. And it would have been really probably second nature, and it would have also been like rude and would have been like kind of like super wimpy and girly for me to freak out and say, oh my gosh, what, you know, I'm not having any of that. What are you thinking? We used the tea bags and we had the tea. And I can just imagine if that would have happened, even happened to me here in the United States, where we're pretty spoiled. There's no way that I myself wouldn't have drank tea that came out of a box with cockroaches in it, and I know most of you probably wouldn't either. But sometimes you just have to pull up your big kid pants and do what you got to do and deal with what you got to deal with. And you know, I think of the conditions that my friends live in Uganda, and I know that even as I'm speaking to you from an 18-foot travel trailer, I'm pretty spoiled and pretty fortunate and blessed, to tell you the truth. And so yeah, I can handle living in a trailer for a year or a year and a half or whatever I have to do, because it's part of what's gonna allow things to happen for us. And it's okay. It's not the end of the world to have to stay in this trailer for a little while. It's not glamorous. It's not convenient. Sometimes it could be a little depressing. We went through, I think when we moved into the trailer, it was mid-November, and it was the rainiest November on record for our area. And that was pretty depressing. So I will say that endless rain is depressing for me already. And then it was really depressing being in the trailer and having the nonstop rain. But we've been having a stretch for a little while now where it's been pretty nice. It's still cold here, but the sun's been out for several days, and it's been really beautiful. And it just raises my mood quite a bit to have the sunshine. And that's one of the things that I'm really looking forward to getting down to Arizona for, is because there's sunshine and blue skies almost every day. So that's just going to be a huge blessing and super wonderful. So I'm looking forward to that. And the scripture that I have for you today is Jeremiah 29:11. For I know the plans I have for you, declares the Lord, plans to prosper you and not to harm you, plans to give you hope and a future. God has good plans for us, and it doesn't always look like what we want it to look like, but ultimately, if we're trusting Him, it's going to be what's best for us. And so I'm really looking forward to seeing what all God has for my husband and myself. And the quote that I have for you today is from Danny Goki, and it says, the moment we change our thinking and start connecting with God, we start connecting with His plans, which always exceed our own small plans. So whatever we think we can, plan for ourselves and dream of, God's always got something bigger and better. And a lot of times we'll force our own way into things, and then even what might seem like the best plans ever sort of don't work out so well. So I would rather just be along for the ride with God and just say, hey, God, you take the reins and you take the wheel, and let's see where we're going. And we want to be in your will for our lives, and we want to be where you want us to be, and we want it to happen how you want it to happen. So just be with us and help us through it, and help us to prepare, and help us to, deal with whatever we've got to deal with to get where we're going. And we know that it's not all about just destination. I mean, life is not all about where we're going to live or what we're going to do for work or where we're going to go to school or who we're going to meet. I mean, it can be about who you're going to meet, or it can be about any of those things, but ultimately life is about our connection and our relationship with God, and just being close to Him, in fellowship with Him, in fellowship with one another, loving one another, and drawing people close to God. So here I am living in the trailer, sharing my story with you week by week, or sometimes only once or twice a month, but sharing my story with you, sharing my faith, sharing some scripture and some quotes, and just praying for you and for my country, and for God's will in my life and in yours. And I'd love to hear what you have going on, and I'd also love to hear some advice on equipment that I could get that wouldn't be too expensive to help me with my videos. So I tried to get a little tripod and a little light for my phone that would help with the videos, but the tripod is like this tall. I'm using it right now, but it's on a stack of books because it's just a tiny little tripod that barely even holds my phone up. And then I'm not using the light because it wasn't working. So looks like I need to do a little more research and probably spend a little more than 30 bucks and see if I can't get something that works a little better. So for now, the quality is still not great and the lighting is not good at all, but it is what it is. And here I am. And I hope that you will give me some tips in the comments, and I will see you next time. God bless you. See you then.